So growing up, I've always been captivated by daredevils. Do you remember Evel Knievel? That quintessential motorcycle jumping daredevil? Or those individuals who, while maybe less famous, will casually tell you about how they've jumped out of a plane, climbed Kilimanjaro, or even just packed up and moved to an unfamiliar city or country. I've always been in awe of those folks, and I've got to date myself here, but my favorite game show growing up was Double Dare. But I never really thought of myself as daring. So why am I up here talking about my oh-so-daring life? Well, with a little more age and a lot more perspective, I found that being daring doesn't always mean climbing to places where it's hard to breathe. Sometimes being daring shows up in quieter ways, even in the everyday choices that we make. For my life journey, I want to offer you 3 dares, 3 takeaways that have guided me, and they might inspire you in how you live, learn, and lead. The first I offer is a dare to take and embrace risk. So I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm in the Lincoln-Limington neighborhood of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which by 90s standards was about 90% poor and 90% black. And students who grew up around me, many whom looked like me, were classified as odds beaters by simply graduating high school, let alone going on to college. Now, I did well in high school, so I thought. I had a respectable 3.6 GPA, loads of extracurriculars, and I was so into Pittsburgh that I had one school of choice that I really wanted to go to in Pittsburgh. So surely that would work out and I'd get in, right? Not so much. So I was actually denied entry into the main campus of my school of choice and instead regulated to a branch campus that was many miles away from my existing network and my existing city. After pleading my case with the powers that be at this university, I was reluctantly admitted, but was mandated to take an academic skills focus course that was curiously populated with students who looked just like me. To that school that didn't want me, what I said was, all right, bet. 4 years later, I graduated magna cum laude as a dual political science and communication major. And on top of that, I added on a master's degree in public administration and had this all before the age of 21. So flash forward 10 years. Things are going really well for me. I'm thriving in my career. I'm working at my alma mater school district. I am leading out-of-school time efforts for the city of Pittsburgh. And it's going really well. I'm loving it. People recognize and see me as the architect of after school in Pittsburgh. I was even recognized as a Next Generation of After School Award winner by the National After School Association. So things were going really well, and I was having a real good time, and I kind of wanted to just enjoy that, like sit back. Like it took a lot of work to get there. So I wanted to sit back, enjoy the time that I had, but nah. A friend of mine who, full disclosure, happens to be in the audience and happens to be my fiance, encouraged me to apply for a doctoral program focused in out-of-school time. So I applied, I got in, and I was able to complete it amidst all my other priorities, be it my career that was thriving, my job changed twice, be it a global pandemic that happened to happen during it. But I was able to do all of this, and I finished, I did my coursework, I wrote a dissertation, I defended a dissertation, and then I became one of 7 inaugural doctorate-level professionals that have a concentration in out-of-school time in this country. Thank you, thank you. Now, friends, I mention all of this to say none of this was easy, and it actually might not have all worked out. At the undergraduate level, I took a pretty risky course load with a tenacity to prove my university wrong. I could have flunked out, or I could have not finished. And at the doctorate level, I mean, it's really harder, if we're of age in this room, it's harder to do school, I've learned, when you're older. So to be able to get through, defend, and write a dissertation, defend it, and get through, it wasn't an easy task. On top of that, adding a global pandemic. It would have been a lot easier for me to just sit back, to take it easy, enjoy what I had so far, but nah. I dared to take and embrace the risk. So the second dare I offer for you is a dare to wonder. Some of you might be wondering in this room what deliciousness is coming up for lunch soon. Some of you might be wondering where your next career path or journey or arc will take you. But if I can, I'd love to invite you into something that I've been wondering about recently. So take a look at the image on the screen. And here it is, a little bit closer. Would you believe, this is a scene outside of my office window, by the way, but would you believe that I've looked at this scene for so long that I just got so curious that I had to figure out, well, what the heck are these pointy things out of the side of this building? My engineer friends in the room will immediately peg these as raker braces, and they're used in tilt-up concrete construction, where you have a concrete pad that's lying on the floor, and it's tilted up at a 90-degree angle, and then these braces are set at a 45-degree angle to help that concrete hold it steady while it cures. Now I ask you this, is it the highest and best use of my in-office time to be pondering about concrete construction? Am I suddenly going to become a concrete contractor and leave philanthropy? No, but I bring this up to invite this. Our world is built and made up of really complex and interconnected systems. And more often than not, we aren't pausing to think about how all of these systems fit together. One of the core principles of the Grable Foundation, where I work, is inspired by the OG of wonder and curiosity, Pittsburgh's own Mr. Fred Rogers. So much so that my dear, dear colleagues, Greg and Ryan, co-authored a book on this very topic, When You Wonder, You're Learning. Because it's these moments of wonder, these small curiosities of everyday life that keep us engaged and growing in a complex world. So every day, I take these opportunities to wonder about the world around me and how it all fits together to create one big, perfect whole. You know what, friends? I just realized something that I didn't do at the start, and I apologize. I did not wish you all a happy Thursday. So happy Thursday. So for those, there's a bunch of people in the room that know me, and for those that know me well, know that every day I will make it a point to say happy day to them. And oftentimes I'll do this multiple times a day. For those that know me, right? Is that right? And I don't just do this by happenstance. So the last dare that I offer is a dare to be the joy. I recall I was an early 20-something, and I was early in my career, and I would encounter folks that were just miserable at work. They had a mean mug, they just were walking around and looking all cranky and grumpy, and like they hated life and everything in it. I'm not off base, you can recall folks like this, right? And even then, I got to thinking, nobody starts out this angry, this jaded, this upset. We all got our own personal things going on, and I can be the first to say, I sure as heck do. But if I could just be that one moment of joy, that one moment of enthusiasm, that one moment of happiness, then that can potentially create that small little bit of difference. I invite you all to try this today. Wish somebody a happy Thursday, give them a friendly greeting, and you actually might be surprised at what you get back. Because friends, in our deeply connected world, it serves none of us to walk around as closed books. Choosing joy is one way where we remain open to collaboration, open to understanding, and open to the small ways in which we all depend on each other each and every day. So to recap here, daredevils, they're often thought of as these big thrill seekers. But what can you do to find thrill and excitement in the ordinary? I promise you, you do not need to walk a tightrope between two buildings. just take these tips that I offered. Risks, they're everywhere, big and little. Take them. And also take those opportunities to wonder about the world around you. And then finally, just be like me, weirdly, sometimes even creepily joyful every day. Thank you.